Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm yarning over in Japan and I want to talk today about all of the WIPs that I need to work on going forward. I would like to get most of these WIPs completed in the next 6 months. Honestly, I want to get them all done before the end of winter because I'm not going to get them done otherwise. Some of these WIPs, though, have been living in my life for over a year. So who knows? I think I need you guys to keep me honest. Okay, so for my first WIP, it's actually something that I started working on about a couple of weeks ago. As you can see behind me, this is my outside wall. And basically in Japan, where I live, there's very little to no insulation, which means that in the winter, my heating bills are quite high. So what I've decided to do is to make a cover for this wall out of crochet, out of wool. And so I've made my first panel for that. And I will be continuing to make panels. So this is just using kind of yarn that I didn't have earmarked for anything else. If you know me and you know my channel, you know that most of the yarn that I've got is secondhand. And when you're buying secondhand yarn in Japan, you're often buying it by the kilo or by the pound. And so I bought a lot of yarn that I didn't actually have plans for or knew what it was like. I'd never touched it. I'd only seen it online. And so there was a lot of this really scratchy, awful wool. And so now I've decided to use it to keep my house warm. And so that is my WIP number 1. I have finished the first panel, so is it really a WIP? I have 6 more panels to go. I think it's a WIP. Okay, WIP number 2. So I started this WIP quite recently. I make blankets for a lot of people in my life, and especially in Japan, because like I said, the insulation is basically not there. And my friend moved here from Thailand, and he is not going to be okay. So I am making him a beautiful blue blanket. This is my 3rd time making a blanket this big. It's big enough for a king-size bed. So it should be awesome. I've spent put about a month into it. And honestly, it feels like it looks bigger on the video than it looks in real life. I feel like I've completed this much. But actually, I'm quite a bit further. I would say I'm a 1/6 of the way, which I would have said I was a 16th of the way before this video. But yeah, these are my 2 currently worked on WIPs. For the 3rd WIP that I want to talk about today, this is actually a tear back and redo project. I made about 100 of these tiny little granny squares, all different patterns and all different styles, but they're all quite small. And I decided to make a sweater out of them. They're all acrylic, so it'll be a nice light sweater. And so I stitched them all together and made myself a vest. But I found it to be too, like, the colors were pretty intense. But I have some pretty bright yellows, and it felt very busy. So I decided to take it all apart and get myself back all these little squares. And since I did that, I decided to redo the sweater using a join as you go method. So I have started to join the sweater using green. Hopefully this color as using this color as a border will calm down the brightness and the color in the sweater, and it'll be more wearable. So that's something I've been working on. I think this one's going to take me a long time because it's very fiddly. My next WIP is a hexie cardigan. I have been working on it for quite a while. I decided that I wanted it to be longer, but I didn't like the way when people expanded it, that the lines they stopped going up. So I decided to connect it and then go around at the connection point so that I wouldn't get those lines. I'm going to get a few in the back where it doesn't go all the way. And I'm probably going to end up getting a few in the front anyway. So this was an experiment trying to figure out a way to make it longer without having that look. But I think I'm going to end up with that look anyway. So this is something I've been working on since last winter, though I haven't touched it very much. Ugh, so many WIPs, so little time. So my next project is the beginning of this shawl. It's just going to be a simple triangle shawl made out of double crochet. The problem with this one is that I'm running out of the brown. Now I do have a couple of options to use after I run out of the brown, but the fact that I'm running out of the brown is the thing that has gotten me to stop working on this. And since all of my yarn is secondhand, I don't really know if I have any more of this type of yarn. Pretty sure I don't. So we'll see. It's actually in the project bag. I have this much yarn left. I got my hook. Everything is ready for me to just start as soon as possible. And yeah, that's maybe gonna happen. I might frog it and make something else. I don't really wear that many shawls. I like making them, but I don't really wear that many in the end. So we'll figure it out, you know? The next WIP is this gorgeous little piece of granny, what is it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided hexagons. So granny hexagons put together. I'm actually making this, I was making it for me as sort of a wall hanging. I thought it was beautiful. It's cotton, no problems with it. It's very cute. But a friend of mine saw it and she fell in love with it. And she was like, could you make this into a tank top for me? One that laces up in the back. So I'm making another couple of hexies, and then she's quite slim. So this should be enough to cover her front. And then I just have to add on the straps. I mean, I feel like I'm going to do the whole band in this. Again, I have the yarn. I have my hook in there. This way. Everything is ready to go. There is no barrier to entry. Everything is ready. So why is it not done? It's for a friend. Why is it not done? Come on, Chris. You gotta do these things. But it's buried at the bottom of my WIP box. So this is a hat that I made for somebody. They chose the colors. I just created the hat. But I hate it. I hate it so much. I will never wear it. That person has disappeared from my life. They were gonna buy it from me. They commissioned it, essentially. They chose their yarn, and this is what they came up with. And I think it's awful. So I haven't decided what to do with it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I was thinking about redoing it, but I hate the way it like puffs out right here. Because of the yarns she chose. And she wanted me to make it more of a beret. I don't even know how to wear berets, honestly. And this yarn is too chunky to really beret up the way she wanted it to. So it looks like a cake. I don't know what to do with this thing. As far as I'm concerned, it's hideous. You know, not that I don't think she's good at designing. It doesn't seem to work at all. So I think this might be. I don't know what to do with this one. Do I keep it? Do I try to sell it to some other person? It kind of looks like a beret. I don't know how you keep berets on your head. I don't know, guys. What do I do with this thing? I think I'm probably gonna end up frogging it, I guess. Maybe. What do I do? What do you do with it? What do you do? What do you do with things like this? There's not enough of any of the yarn to make anything else. I just end up adding it to a scrap blanket. It's a mess. I don't know what to do with it. My next whip was in the whip box, but I have no idea what I intended it to be. I'm pretty sure I intended it to end up being a hat. Kind of like that. Kind of cute. But I don't have very much of it. I have two 25-gram balls. Again, the crochet hook is in here, and this is wool. So this is a project that I could potentially complete someday. This project, guys, this is my white whale. This is the project that I started. The first thing I ever started making was this project, and it's a knit blanket. I wanted it to look like a quilt, and it does. I've gotten quite a lot done, and I've gotten quite a lot put together because each of these little squares needs to be individually sewn into the blanket. And I have square after square after square ready to go. I have them in blocks. I have them one by one. I've made so many of them, but I feel like I'm never going to get to the point where I actually put this thing on my bed. I've got it about the right, it's not the right width. Still needs a couple of things. And then I've been working on it this way as well. That's definitely not the right width to go on my bed. And I've been working on it since 2020, on and off this whole time. You know, I should just put it together, but I hate sewing them on, and I hate weaving in my ends, and that's literally all I'm doing. I do occasionally make a panel. I do have a panel on the go right now. So I'm making them in groups, so I have less to put away at the end. Originally, I was making them in individual squares. Really, really tiny individual garter stitch squares. And it is a color changing yarn, so it changes color on its own. So I don't have to worry about that. But it is getting a little bit old and a little bit tired. And honestly, I need to finish it. This is ridiculous. I can't keep up this charade of, oh, am I going to finish this someday? Because I think the answer might be no. But it's been on my needles for so long. Years and years and years. 4 years now, and it's not done. I haven't touched it in 2 years, though. So take of that what you will. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, and I hope you have, then you have seen some of those WIPS before. The blanket especially. I've definitely talked to you guys about that. I need you guys to keep me honest. Just a message every once in a while. How's that blanket going? It's not going. I'm sure it's not going. The blue one will get done because it's for someone else. This knit blanket that's supposed to look like a quilt, whether that's ever going to get done, I hope it does, because it was my first project and I think it needs to get done. Even if I stop now and just put together what I have, it'll make a great lap blanket. I don't need to keep making more of it. Oh well, I will figure it out. And maybe one day you'll see it over there on my sofa. Maybe not. Thank you for coming to my channel if you've made it this long. I really appreciate you. I'd love if you would come back. Please. Nah, I'm not that desperate. I really would love if you would come back though. Please like and subscribe.